the thing that works in both the pre-hospital setting as well as the hospital setting, honestly, is simple, a matter of privacy. If you're the thing I use often, whether I'm pre-hospital or not, is to say, for patient privacy's sake or for HIPAA compliance or whatever excuse you want to say, I need to do a medical exam in private. Could you please step out for a few minutes and separate them that way? And that is very legitimate, and that happens whether or not you suspect trafficking anyway. And so I have found that that is a pretty good way to separate the patient from whoever they're with, to ask them questions in private. The other thing to remember, and I think we're starting to get better at this over the last few years, but we can definitely improve on it. And that is being trauma aware. What I mean by that, there's a concept called trauma informed care, where you go into your interview with the patient with the realization that we don't want to further contribute to their trauma. And trauma-informed care simply means understanding that the patient may not even know, again, that they're in this predicament. They just know that it's not a great predicament. They may be blaming themselves. And we have to be careful about how we phrase things. So again, instead of saying things like, what's wrong with you? The approach is instead more closely related to what happened. What were the events leading to why the ambulance is here today, or why you're in my emergency department today? What happened? We just let them know that we're there as medical professionals to help them and help them, their injury or their illness, whatever is causing them to be in front of us at that moment. That may help them become more open in discussing the facts and circumstances that led to you being there in the first place, or for them to be in the emergency department in the first place. And so I think that's really important when we talk about a curriculum for fire and EMS professionals. We have to include that part. Number one, like we mentioned already, is recognition. And then number two, we have to make sure that, okay, now that you recognize it, how do you approach it? And it has to be built around a trauma-informed care centerpiece. Otherwise, you could inadvertently risk alienating the patient even more, or driving them further into the shadows. And we never meant to do that, just because we weren't savvy enough to know that we can actually exacerbate or worsen their trauma physically and mentally if we're not aware of the wide variety of circumstances that bring them to that situation.